Okay. I hate doing live videos because every time you never know when these things go up and when these things go down. But figuring out how to deal with the enemy's multi-shot, even if I use my ensnare ability, which I put on the second, it doesn't matter because if an enemy is at a distance and they're multi-shotting from a distance, the damage is pretty high on the weapon, so you get KO'd pretty quick. Um, so even though you're trying to close the distance, if enemies are far away, it won't work exactly the way you want it to. So the objective is to make sure all enemies, close and far, are cannot hit you based on the range of AoE blast or something. But I was thinking maybe that's not the issue either. It's knowing um, when to roll and when to cast the ability. But as you can see, like I said in the last video, sometimes these things work and sometimes they don't. This is why I put on natural talent because it took so long to do the ability. Um, she pretty much got done. So it's it's hard in some ways to actually even root for something like more range when you know the priority will always be doing the ability fast enough rather than trying to consider range. Um, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So this is the next one. Did she survive a little bit longer with ensnare? Not if the enemies are a little far away, then it doesn't work that way. Um, but I know this doesn't work out the way I want it to. So I'm thinking to myself like, Jesus, man, I need both of these to at least be on, and I need to be able to cast the ability fast enough. And if I include ensnare, I might be able to do so, but that doesn't apply to the enemies that are at a certain range. So natural talent is needed no matter how you look at it. But I need a level of invulnerability. I cast a fourth ability went all the way over to the other side. It's not always going to play ball the way you want. I mean, the most logical thing to have on is to have this on, but you lose. You get like 75% vulnerability, and that's extremely bad. So, and natural talent is needed because, I mean, it's not really needed, but the platform I was at before allowed the other enemies to come in. This one is more of enemies that are at a distant range. So the test is a different testing ground. I like this one better than the other one because The other one, they were all gathered together. This one spread them out at different ranges. So let's see. The only thing I could see here is to sacrifice Prism in order to get that damage. But you kind of need Prism Guard to guard you at close range. But if you have Ensnare, then you don't have to deal with that. But it still won't stop enemies that are shooting you at a huge range. So I'm going to try something. Problem solved. Problem solved. I said it before and I'll say it again. Ensnare solves most issues. Just ensnare. That's all you gotta do is freaking ensnare. Of course, ensnare doesn't work on the enemies, the exumus, but ensnare works on everybody. Everybody. And I went with this build. All you gotta do is roll every now and again. I went with this build. A shitty build. It's not that even great. But it was based on range. So as long as the moment they close in within 145 while you're shooting around enemies, they get ensnared. Also, the range of your holograms, your mirages goes to 145. So the range of their shooting goes further from you from the center. That's why when if you're walking around an enemy, I was realizing, why was I getting killed a lot? Because I'm walking around the enemies in the line of fire of the enemy shooting at me in a circular form. If I was going back and forth, it doesn't matter. As long as bullets keep flying out of the weapons continuously, eventually I'll get hit by it regardless of where I'm walking, in the circles or not. Because it's multi-shot. Because it's multi-shot and it's rapid fire. So it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to get hit regardless. So in a situation like this, you need same thing as before. The only big difference in this build is I removed narrow-minded for more range and I increased the range. For the specific reason, if they're shooting close to me or if they're on top of a mountain shooting from me, the bullets are going to split up from the gun and will arch outwards in a 180. And there will all be not the same damage effect as the one from the center, but they'll all be powerful. So multiple shots of weak bullets eventually, if it hits you 2 or 3 times, will be fatal. And if you can't initiate roll and guard fast enough, and there are multiple amount of them on mountains shooting at you from a distance, they will get you. So I surmise that if I could at least increase my range to about 145, 135, 145, I spread out my mirages range from them being separate from each other and from me. So the multi-shot, if it comes and hit me, it won't be as deadly because the range that I am split off from the enemy is split off with regards to the multi-shot range as well. So the multi-shot range, one is arc at 180, one is arc on another 80. That's a full 360. I take direct hit. But if I'm moving around, I don't take that 360 from left, right, center, back and forth, north, south, east, and west. From the, like, if you were to take 180 from going from south, it will arch upwards in a triangular cone. And the multi-shot will go as it's going. As further the enemy is away from you, the more the multi-shots spread out. So if you're going from south and it's going upwards, that's 180 upwards towards you, and you're in the center. And if from north, it's going downwards 180 towards you. And if the enemy is from east, it's 180 towards you, outwards and west. So it's a full cone of bullets, and you will eventually get KO'd. But if you increase your range to about 145, as long as you don't decrease your power strength below 95 or 90, if you increase your range to about 145 or maybe a little bit higher, 130, 145, you're able to spread out your close mirages to you from them bringing those bullets towards you. So the further they are away from you, the further the spread of cone of multi-shot will go towards them further from you, unless you will die, if that makes any sense, giving you enough time to survive. And of course, that was in consideration for range. That has nothing to do with ensnare. Ensnare just offers you the ability to delay them while you're trying to kill them. I'm not even trying to kill them. I'm just trying to stand in a mission and see how long it would take for me to kill every one of them until I'm fully run out of energy. This is how much energy I had left there. Now, so let's see, because this is shitty build, because that's why it's shitty. It's because this takes 17, this takes 35, This takes 17. It's not that bad, but if you're considering the replenish time of Arcane Energize towards this, that's not good because this only gives you, let's see, on energy pickup 6% chance to replenish 150 energy spent while exchange within 15. It's on energy pickup. That's only on energy pickup. So if I pick up no energy, it's pointless to have this on. Let's say none of these enemies drop energy pickups, alright? So what would we substitute for that? Guardian? No, that won't do jack shit. I need something to help me. You know what? That's for another day. That's for another day. What I figured out is what I figured out just now. I didn't realize it took me this long to figure it out, but it had nothing to do with that shit that they was talking about in their other builds or so on, with her surviving so long. It had everything to just simply do with what I was doing before, but in reverse. Let's see. Everything's the way it was. Okay, energize. All right, there it is. Okay, never mind. So in mission, if you do energy pickups, it will guarantee you to get 150 back. So you don't want to have this on. You want to have regular flow, so you can get the full 150 energy back. Because this will only fill you to about 185. I don't know if that's cool with you. Actually, now that I think about it, they nerfed it. They nerfed it. They nerfed it. This used to be like 2 something. They nerfed it. It's now 180 something. All right, so this is fine. I'll keep this on. But yeah, this is the secret. This is the build. Tomorrow will be my last Mirage build, but this build is pretty good. I survived longer than 60 seconds with this. It's not about killing enemies, it's about seeing how long I can stay alive. So I'll kill all these enemies off. Clear the board. Try again. This time, I'm going to do something even harder. I'm going to give myself a cranium. I don't know why I said cranium. Yeah. I was thinking coronary artery, but for your cranium, it's a weird thing. I don't know why I said that. Like a heart attack. I was about to give myself a heart attack, but I was thinking about cranium. The point is, what I'm going to do is, why I chose these guys is because they're AoE. So what I just did with the gunners might not work with them because their bombs are AoE. So I'm gonna test this. I'm very scared because this is bombs. This is not bullets flying at you. All of their explosions are AoE. So I'll see how long I can keep them under control before I go down. So heavy gunners dealt with. I figured it out. Like I said, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Not even a second. Just one of them. Just one of them. Maybe 2 of them. Maybe 2 of them kill me. It's freaking beautiful. Yep, 2 of them. There you go. There's your proof. This build does not work for enemies that do AoE damage. So, out with the old and with the new. That build only works for people who have machine guns or guns. It works for butchers as well. But for dudes throwing bombs at you, no way. You won't even make it to 30 seconds. So, I gotta rethink the situation. The objective is to resist the damage of the bombs. Once shields go down, they have to go back up real fast. This might be the point where brief respite might actually come in. The build that those guys had before might actually work to kick shields in fast enough, but I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. So I'm gonna try their method again. I seriously doubt it. We're talking AoE damage here. Not even 15 seconds. You want a real challenge? Here's a real challenge for you. Try to stop the projectile bombs that are coming towards you from enemies that are steel path level 175, level 200s, level 300s. There's one of this at level 300 will kill you straight off. Just one, not two. Once they're at 175 to 200, it'll take two of the bombs from these guys and you're dead. If you could stop these guys, you could stop any of them. Steel path level 200s, level 175s, and higher. So the objective is to figure out something to stop the big boys. We already figured out how to solve the gunners, but that method does not work for the big boys, the AoEs. AoE damage is what's important. This is what fascinates me when I see people who are claim to be, masters of their craft and stuff. Like, did they even count for AoE damage when they were fighting enemies? And when they did count for AoE damage and they had this build set up within their whole arsenal, then it only means one thing. Ensnare doesn't work. It would have to be something that blinds enemies both close and far, and you have high duration at the same time. So you have to have high duration, and you have to have, that's difficult, high duration and range. But range, but if I put on narrow-minded, okay, wait, actually no. If I keep this on and then I put on this, strength goes down, this goes down. That's incredibly bad. So you'd never want to have this on. But if I don't increase my duration period, it won't last long. This is fine now, back the way it is. But I'll need range instead of this. The objective is to stun the enemies that are far from you, not the ones that are close. The ones that are close to you, you can ensnare, but the bomb's coming from a distance, because the enemy is not going to run to you and then shoot the bomb. The enemy's going to shoot you from a distance, and then the bomb's going to catch you. Actually, no, the bomb's not going to catch you. The bomb's going to catch your Mirage, and the Mirage is going to explode. The AoE is going to explode on the Mirage, who's not really there, and the effect of the AoE will then kill you. So for bombers, you need range. Unless you close in the gap for each enemy that you fight. But how are you going to kill as many enemies in front of you fast enough to then get to them before their bombs get to you is impossible. unless you have range. Or maybe ensnare doesn't work. Maybe I do need that radial bind. Because with radial bind at 145, I could get all these dudes, all of them, even the ones all the way over there. So maybe radial blind is the best choice for the situation, not ensnare. But I gotta wait a full, how long do I have to wait for that radial bind? 23 hours. After I subsume Excalibur, I gotta wait 23 hours for that radial blind. Let's try this again. Booyah! Figured it out. I figured it out. Like I said, you need that range, and if you're fast enough on your feet, you could get to every single enemy within your 145 location. Grab the first group, ensnare them, and then grab the second group, and it should ensnare them and the next group that's next to them. So if you're smart enough, you could only use ensnare twice, and then it's the duration. It's the duration of the ensnare and the range. I really wish Argo would give me at least 200. Um, that's just wishful thinking. Um, Shit. I gotta go with this. And this has to be here, otherwise I'll get knocked down. But maybe I don't need the full 145. Maybe I just need 135. So let's see. That's why this is called Mirage Test 2. I'm testing it against the big boy Caprices. The gunners were simply there to see if I could dodge the bullets before they shred me to death. Figured that out. I figured that out pretty quick. Um, well, not that quick, but today I did. Because yesterday I was going according to someone else's playbook, which I shouldn't have done from the beginning. I should have just did what I always do, my own shit. Not saying that they're wrong or anything, just saying that the logic of what they're trying to do versus how an enemy behaves based on AoE, how on shooting, and based on how the system of each NPC. Well, they're not really NPCs. They're each nodes or each bot are set up to shoot based on multi-shot. It doesn't work that way. You have to be fast. Staying airborne is good when you're running away from bombs. However, the bombs from the grenadiers are all heat-seeking, so they're not just gonna explode after they miss you. They're gonna turn around and come back at you. Um, it doesn't work all the time that way, so you have to count for that. Maybe 100 is good enough. I don't think it is because I have to ensnare enemies. I'll see. If 100 is good enough, this is what I'm staying with. And I'm going to use it on the heavy gunners and see how it plays out. Let's try that again. Try that one last time. I'm gonna keep the enemies at bay on the left and the right side. If I get damage from them coming from left and right, we'll then check it out. Simulate them again. Pause them again. AoE is not far enough. Range is not far enough. It has to be beyond 100. Yeah, it has to be at least 145. I'm not so worried about the duration. I need that 145. Maybe I could get it to, if I do this. And let's try something else. You want to see? I'm gonna see how this plays out. Who knows? It's all about speed. It's all about agility. It's all about knowing when to cast. I know all the bombs are gonna come my way. If I could avoid them, get out of them, however fast I could move. But the thing is to move as fast as you can, and that's very difficult when you're trying to avoid tons of this to see if you could close them all in. Um, but that doesn't work unless your ensnare is beyond what I have it to be ensnared. Because I think even 145 might not do it. I think I uh, might actually need, I actually need 175. There's only one way to find out. Come on. The problem is you're trying to see where this stuff is. See? Grab them. Problem solved. Problem solved. Oh, my damn Oxim keep dying. Um, Problem solved. I'll remove any pets as well. So, problem has now been solved. With a good 145, you could get the enemy that's within, right in front of you, and then directly afterwards, if they're to the left or to the right of you, you could grab those to the left of you or to the right of you to be sucked into the center. Or you could cast it ensnare once here, here, and here, and never have to worry about casting it until a second time. By the time you cast it a second time, all enemies should be dead, or enemies should drop enough energy, or at least one energy, to replenish you so you could finish the job. Clear the board. Simulate again. That's the problem. And that's the problem. Sometimes these goddamn things, like you want them to do something. That's the problem. Like you're trying to, the problem with any lock-on system or any attack that you're trying to lock onto an enemy, if you don't, if it's not directly, if you're aiming or the aim towards whoever you're trying to lock onto isn't precise, that's also a delay as well, which you must account for. So it really depends on how fast you're moving. So that also must be considered as well. The time it takes for you to lock on and then cast its snare. See the enemy, aim it on the enemy, cast. And that's why natural talent is very important. The time it takes for you to cast, if you have natural talent on, goes away. That's why I'm thinking, like, god damn it, man. It might not even be 175 that's important. It might just be the time it takes for me to cast my abilities might be the factor here. What I know, if I increase the AoE range, I mean the range of my barrages, I take less damage because they're spread out more. Of course, once it gets to like level 300 still path, it doesn't even matter. So it would be more about natural talent than anything else. But I think this might be the most logical setup based on bombardiers anyway. In fact, based on anything, you might want to have some range for your Mirage rather than closing in. Unless you're directly planning on staying in front of every enemy, and not every enemy is going to be staying in front of you. See, that's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what doesn't make sense. See, that's what I'm talking about. By the time you land on the goddamn ground, there's a delay. There's a delay. There's a delay from when you cast to delay from the bomb. See, the bombs themselves don't have delays. When you shoot them, those things don't have delays. So the moment you cast, you have to roll. That's how that works. The moment you cast, you have to roll. So the first objective is roll first. Okay, so roll first, cast, roll again. Once they get out of it, roll first, cast, roll again. Or if you don't have to roll, if you could catch them before the bombs hit you, cast, then roll. Because you're not going to avoid all those bombs. These are level 175 Steel Path Grenadiers. They're not regular. And this is AoE. This is not, these are AoE enemies. Their bombs are range effects. Which means if all of them are shooting at one point, that yield within that center goes outwards. That means the damage is increased by triple, quadruple, depending on how far you are from them, depending on how long it takes for the ensnare to take effect. And this also goes for radial blind. Once you blind them, boom, they're blinded, and then they stop. So 1 second to be blinded, next second to be stunned. 1 second to be ensnared, the next second to stop moving. The bombs, however, don't stop. They're not like gunners. The moment they're ensnared or blinded, they stop shooting. Bombs don't do that. That's why a lot of people don't count for those things, including those exhumus enemies that have like elemental effects around them, like electricities. Those electricity is not going to come off the moment they're stunned. You have to take the electricity off first, then stun them. Then that's how that works. So we'll keep going. This works. This build works. You just have to be fast. Short range does not work for Mirage. It only works for Mirage if your enemy is not shooting AoE damaging weapons at you, or AoE bombs, or there are exhumus enemy that has elemental effects that goes beyond 130 range or goes beyond 100 range. If there's tons of them, let's say 5 exhumus enemies with electricity on them are running towards you, you're fucked. But if it's just one, you could deal with it. But if you have like I have like 20 bombers coming at you all at once, shooting bombs, 20 grenadiers coming at you with I don't know how much rounds per each guns. That's a lot of bombs coming towards you. So you can't have short range. You need your Mirages to soak up some of the damage, which they're not going to because they're just Mirages, but the range allow the effect of the bomb going towards the Mirage to explode outwards, thus doing less damage towards you because they're not close to you like narrow-minded. They're a little bit further. That's why I was trying to get it all the way up to 75, but I'm thinking maybe natural talent is fast for me to cast ability again. I'll see how it goes again. First I'll roll, because I know the moment I take them off pause, it's Bomb City. My bad, my bad. It's Bomb City out here. Alright, so I didn't cast Ensnare to the guys behind there. See, a lot of people don't account for this. AoE enemies, let's say the AoE enemies are here, 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 and here, and they're shooting downwards. Unless you have a specific range for this area surrounding here, you won't be able to grab them here, 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 and here and pull them down there, or blind them radial blind so they stop shooting. And if you roll out at the wrong time, you'll die unless you find a wall to hide behind. Always pay attention to your timing down the lower right. See how long the first dudes take the stun, how long the second dudes take the stun. They're unstunned. Unstun. $20. The first group is probably down to 10. This one is now at 20. They're now unstuck. This one's back to 20. The next group is going to be unstuck in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 20. 20. Good. Lessons over. All right. Perfect. Chef's kiss. As long as you have 145 and the enemy is not too far away from you, you could deal with it. You could cast it twice for those who are far from you. If they're close to you and you get them within 145, boom, solid. You then run to the next section. If the next section is south, if the next section is north, if the next section is east, go to that next section, grab them, 145 them. Count between the first group you grab. This also applies for radio blind or any crowd control. For the first one you blind or ensnare, count for how long that duration period lasts. Then you go to the next group and count for how long that one lasts. If you know the last time you cast was 20 seconds, and the next time you cast is another 20 seconds afterwards, obviously the first one is completely over. But if the time you cast for the next one's like 5 seconds behind the previous cast, that one's only 15 minutes behind. So let's test this again. This time we'll kill everybody and see the range. They're going to be at the east and the west. Over here and north. This will also work for the gunners. The last build yesterday was all about doing what other people want from their videos on how to survive. Today is all about me doing my build. So yesterday ones was trial and error as well as today. But this one seems to work best for gunners and bombers. I can't speak for Exumus. And that's why you want to have a minimum for 145, because even though I cast twice for the one to the left, I cast once for the one north and the other was for the one on the east, if you're counting east. From the time I turned around from the guys pointing north, here, I turned around, then I faced enemies over here and ensnared them. But that wasn't counted for the guys on the west, which would be the ones over here. So time duration for these guys, by the time I get to these guys, would have been down to 5 seconds, which is not good. So 1, 2, 3. You'll probably have to increase your duration a little bit higher. But if you're not worried about that, because they're not going to be missions where you have like 20 bombardiers coming at you at once. This is just a simulation. That's not going to happen in a mission. Not unless you're all the way up to 3 hours in a mission. That's when stuff like that happens, and nobody's going to stay in mission for 3 hours. So this was a good lesson today. This is a good build. I wonder if let's see, if I remove natural talent and increase the range even further, would I be able to grab the one that was on the west without messing with the one that's on the east? I have to do it twice no matter what, but would the one from the west be grabbed as well? So it's a good test. Oh yeah, that's a nice little thing that if you die while you're... This is funny. This game has all little type of Easter eggs or hidden gems or secrets. If you die while you're going through your inventory, because they're not going to stop firing at you. If you die while you're in your inventory, your character get up from a kneeling position. It's like when you log into the game, you're revived and you get up from your kneeling position in your ship. That basically means you're coming to life. So that's another form of revival. You reviving into the shell of your Warframe. I keep telling people they need to make a Warframe movie. Like, but people say no, they don't know how to do it. It's like, of course, because you got the wrong people. Warframe is a horror movie. Warframe has always been a horror movie. The action is just what makes you intrigued for fighting. Otherwise, the game would be boring and not fighting. But Warframe has always been a horror movie. People getting turned, consumed, infestation, turned into this thing. They're walking nightmares. It's like the movie The Fly. It's like The Fly. They're getting digested from inside out and turning into the Warframe. It's a horror movie. The whole damn thing. That's not why I was into Warframe. Warframe just ticks off all the, checks all the boxes of almost everything. Almost everything. That was good. That was good. That was good. That was very good. Why I say that was good is that enemy that was over here, he was desperately trying to get to me, so he walked off the stage to his death. But he got me. So he got him. The 175 hooked the guys on the west side just the way I wanted to. Not all of them, but some of them. So it means I only have to really cast it twice. So now I'll try duration. This time. Where I could cast it 3 times. And see what that'll do. 26 seconds. Only 6 seconds more? That's garbage. At least give me 30. Alright, I'm gonna have to see what 27 seconds will do. It won't do much. Might have to lower streamline just one tad. Actually, no, if I put... Yeah, would it work? No, it wouldn't work. Son of a bitch. Alright. Alright. Alright, this should work. Yeah, just 1 second off. Alright, so this one should work. This is against bombers. Warframe has this thing about doing superhero landings and stuff. That also has to be factored in. If you don't pay attention to how you land, that takes away from you the time for which you will have to cast your ability again, which is a pain in the ass, but it is what it is. You got to roll before you land. Otherwise, the time it takes to cast is now doubled. Yeah, it works. I wanted them to spread out some more. Assimilation is not that good if you don't have perform results that are accurate. Them bunching up like that, that's from the last one I did. Alright, let's try this again. My bad. I fell for that one. Another rule to learn about this game is that when you're fighting enemies that are ridiculous high, never aim glide towards them. It's not going to stop the bullets, it just allow them to have a better target while you're slowing down. Aim glide does not slow down time or any of that stuff. I mean, everyone knows that. I don't know why I did that, so. It just allows you to get better aim while you're gliding, that's all it does. And to get up places easier. Let's try that again. The solution is always to do this once you're far away from the enemy. Or do this. You notice I haven't done this yet. Because this whole video is about the Warframe, not about the operator. The mission would have been over a long time ago if it was all about operator and Warframe. This is a Warframe test, not an operator Warframe test. Lock on, goddammit. That's another issue. If it's not directly locked on, and it's not a fault of the people who made the game. It's a fault of how you play the game, how you perform in a mission. You have to directly lock onto an enemy. You can't lock onto his legs, you can't lock onto his arms. It has to be either the head or the body. If you slip, you're dead. This one is over soon. There. This one is over soon. Boom. Solved. 1, 2, 3. You count the time. Let's see how this to grab the others that wake up. Come on, wake up. Takes a little long, but here's the thing. Even when that guy's ensnared, if the enemy gets too close to him, they get ensnared as well. So the great part about ensnare is that as long as it's lasting, if I remember how the effect goes. Okay. So range, radius, duration is 26 seconds max. Propagation delay 28 I don't know, like no 26 point is that 26 seconds? That can't be right. Yeah, it's about 26 seconds. So it's like 0.28 seconds. So it's less than a seconds for propagation delay. I don't really care. So let's see what else it says. Blind to happen. Okay, so it says nothing. It says nothing about once an enemy is ensnared, that other enemies that are unensnared cannot be ensnared again. It does not say that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a test. Because this build is good. If what I just saw, this build is very good. It's all about speed. It's all about range. And it's all about... It's not so much about natural talent. But it's about range, duration. Range, duration. Of course, you have to have this in here. Now, naturally, if you're going to fight extremely high enemies, you will have to have natural talent on. But this is good for any enemies that's from level 1 to level 100 to level 200. Why I say level 200? Because these are level 175 steel path grenadiers. So they're slightly boosted above 175. They're not exactly 175. They're more like level 200. Or if not, level 190. So let's see. Alright. So this is a good build. This is a very good build for gunners and for bombers. For gunners and for bombers. I don't know about Exilus enemies that have elemental wards around them. And I don't know about null enemies. Tomorrow will be my final test. And it will be versus null enemies and versus Exumus enemies. This was simply the test versus gunners, lots of gunners shooting at you, and bombers, AoE. Can this Warframe stand up in an AoE match? Without an ensnare ability? Probably not. But with an ensnare ability that has crowd control, yes. Versus heavy gunners that are beyond level 100 and heavy bombers beyond level 100. So this is a good build. I just tested it. I just tested it twice. Tested it 3 times. Tested it 4 times. Don't really need natural talent. You just need to know how to move fast enough. Know when the rolling guard initiates and when ensnare goes into effect. And when you land and how you land versus the enemies. So I'll try one more time. Make sure they're not close together. If not this one, the next one with natural talent on works better. So she survived longer when she has more range, not when she has less range. I don't know what bullshit they were talking. Too many bombs. Too many bombs congregated. Come on, lock on. See, that's the issue. You gotta keep it moving. You gotta keep it moving. Nope, congregated too much. Try again. Oh yeah, another thing. Don't expect to, like when you're in live combat, don't stay out in the open. Use your terrains. Use the building around you. Or use the enemy to block the bullets. As you notice, when a bomb goes towards an enemy, it doesn't go through the enemy. It bounces off them. So you can use them as a shield when you're ensnaring them. Either that or is the default thing. Because I'll find it very surprising if the bomb, the grenade is going directly through them and then it hits you. That's not very, game logic wise. It doesn't make sense. It's all about keep it moving. Keep it moving. It's hard. It's hard. This build works, but you gotta be fast. Network's going down, network's going down. Well, this build was pretty good. This build was good. Either build it. This build is good. Network's going down. Build it with natural talent. Either put natural talent on or leave the one I have on. Remember, not all these enemies are going to be 175 steel path. So the build I have is pretty good there, or switch out for natural talent. Versus bombers and grenadiers. So I'm done for now since it's only recording my voice.